Good morning, USA, and welcome to another episode of the Burning Your Bus Show. Unshaved, unbathed, uncouth, unedited, unscripted. Today, mostly unscripted. Hope you're having a good week. Happy Friday. What is neoliberalism? When you are talking to people about burning your bust and they get their panties in a wad because you are putting pressure on them not to vote for their favorite neoliberal candidate, they don't seem to understand why it's so bad to vote for a neoliberal candidate. There's Trump. 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 We can't have Trump. And then you try to tell them why neoliberalism is not an acceptable alternative to Donald Trump. They don't seem to fully understand neoliberalism. It would take a while to fully understand neoliberalism, and most people don't have time for that. But we'll keep moving forward. We'll give you bits and pieces of it over time until you, at least, you faithful followers of the Bernie or Bust show, at least you'll know what neoliberalism is. Because unless you do, Bernie or Bust doesn't make that much sense, honestly. So here we go. Jimmy is good for this. I'm going to pick and choose parts of this video to save time, but the whole video is worth watching. I hope you'll go back. I'll link to it, of course, in the information section.
I just want to announce to everybody that people don't know what neoliberalism is. Neoliberalism is corporatism. So, according to WikiLeaks, neoliberalism refers primarily to the 20th century resurgence of 19th century ideas. So, associated with laissez faire economic liberalism. So, that's from the 1800s. It's when they had child labor, stuff like that.
Laissez-faire liberalism is capitalism. It's very clearly free market, the idea of a free market. And even though we've never had a free market, this idea that we should have a free market is the way that they've allowed corporations to rig the system.
That's from the 18 neoliberalism. We're going back to the old ideas of screwing over people. These include extensive economic liberalization policies such as privatization, fiscal austerity, deregulation, free trade, and reductions in government spending in order to increase the role of the private sector in the economy and society. That's neoliberalism.
And that's the game of monopoly. And you allow a few people to end up owning everything, and then everyone else goes bankrupt.
That's neoliberalism. So instead of the government providing services, they want to take the government out of it and privatize everything. That's why I want to privatize public education now and private. So it's not.
I'm for over 30 years have been involved in public education, and I can tell you that the bean counters taking over public education has been a disaster. And so this idea of neoliberalism runs through every part of the fabric of our culture, and it's killing every part of our culture.
Good. They also free trade, meaning screw over unions. They're for deregulation, meaning bigger banks on Wall Street to crash the economy. They're for fiscal austerity, meaning cut money for your government services so they can give a tax cut to rich people, and privatization. So it's all the bad stuff that's happened. These market-based ideas and the policies they inspired constitute a paradigm shift away from the post-war Keynesian consensus that lasted from 1945 to 1980. And guess what? So we used to do things differently up until Ronald Reagan, and then Ronald Reagan shifted the Keynesian economics that FDR brought in, and the Democrats jumped right on board with the corporatists. They got in bed with Wall Street, military-industrial complex, the fossil fuels, Silicon.
That's a train. And that's what we need to keep stressing, is that when Reagan and Thatcher took over the world, they ditched Keynesian economic policy, and what we got after that was a rapid diminishing of the middle class, and a few people got all the money. It became rigged. It was starting to be rigged in the Nixon era, but it really, the train was on, the neoliberal train was full head of steam and running after Reagan and Thatcher crashed in onto the picture.
Valley. And now look what happened to the country. We have the biggest income disparity since the Gilded Age. Bigger than that. There's more upward mobility in less in our economy than there is in Europe.
Yeah, and that's what happened with Maggie and Ronnie. Let me jump ahead here.
Bring this up because now we have Hillary Clinton saying she's part of the resistance, right? But we know she has two positions always, public and private. So this person put this together. I think it's funny. It says, my public position is I'm with the resistance. My private position is I'm with Wall Street, and you all goddamn know it.
Why do we bring up Hillary? This was May of 2017, so of course we were still talking about Hillary. But we need to keep talking about Hillary, as my research has shown that the Clinton machine is behind the new candidates, flooding the field so that Bernie Sanders will end up in a contested nomination convention. So Hillary is still alive and well. Elizabeth is still consulting with her. They're still meeting. They're still talking. The money of the Clinton Foundation is behind Cenk Uygur and the Young Turks. It's all connected, and I'll put that article back under this video so you can read about that if you'd care to. But Hillary Clinton is still relevant because what she's trying to do is neoliberalism, and she's actively doing it now. She's actively supporting people, as you'll hear here.
Not so private.
What I meant to say is you'll hear how she was doing it then, and she's still doing it now.
Well, can we point out, too, that one of the agendas of her On Work Together group is helping candidates.
Yeah.
Similar to the Justice Democrats, so you can be damn sure.
They're still helping candidates. They're helping Joe Biden. They're helping Kamala Harris. They're helping Cory Booker. And they're helping Elizabeth Warren. And I have proof of that. Again, read the article that I'll link under this video.
Sure, what she is going to do is help out the corporate Democrats that are being primaried.
That are going to be
she's
primaried.
Actually, I mean, she's already hurting the left.
She's already hurting the left.
More.
Yes. And so why do I bring all this up? A, because it's important to know what neoliberalism is and how it's failed. It's what Barack Obama did. He tried to do even worse austerity. He proposed cutting Social Security and Medicare. Barack Obama did. After he made Bush tax cuts permanent, bailed out Wall Street, made the banks bigger, and then he tried to take it out of Bureau of Social Security and Medicare.
That's Orwellian and George Carlin mixed together. And unless we acknowledge that, unless we acknowledge the neoliberalism of Barack Obama, we'll never be able to move away from the sock puppet candidates, the stealthy capitalists that are ruining us now. So acknowledging the failed legacy of Barack Obama is hugely important.
The Republicans stopped him.
Yeah.
Thomas Frank, friend of the show, who also wrote this book, and we've had him on the show, watch that video. He was being interviewed in another country. I don't know what language this is, but let's listen to what he has to say.
The United States is on its way back to the 19th century. In some ways, we are there already. We're statistically like in the Victorian era.
Well, isn't that interesting? We institute economic ideas from the 1800s, and it turns out it brought us right back to the 1800s. Did you hear what he said? The statistics tell you we're right back where we were in the 19th century. Gilded Age, income disparity. He's telling you, so if you institute the economic policies that they were using in the 1800s, turns out our economy the results are almost exactly the same as theirs. I wonder why we don't fix it. Maybe because the system favors the rich. Maybe because the system we have right now, the people in power are benefiting from it, so they don't want to. And I mean the people in power, I mean the people who run the media, the people who run the banks and the oil companies and Silicon Valley and pharmaceutical companies. I'm talking about all that, those power people with the money. That's what I'm talking about. They like it. And they're the ones that tell you, what do you want, something for nothing? Who's going to pay for that? That's what they tell you. Single payer will never come to pass. That's the stuff they tell you. So here we go. Back to his. So now watch this. He makes these are just awesome points.
And now back to the Democratic Party. The problem, you say,
Is
of
that
the Democratic, they're not interested.
Well, think about it this way: when you have massive inequality, like we have in America, and the old social contract is coming to pieces, the party of the left should be profiting from this. They should be, winning all across the country. Instead, they're losing and losing and losing. The reason is because they no longer believe in that mission. They no longer believe in the mission of economic, social equality. They believe in the professional class. And the basic assumption.
So that's why we need Bernie or bust. They do believe in the meritocracy, which he's about to unpack. And if you don't, if you want a real opposition and you really care about the poor people and the people who have been screwed over, Jimmy, when he's describing this, he sounds so much like George Carlin. Those are the people that own you. You have owners. They own you. And if you want to stop that, if you want to change that, you need a true opposition party. And the reason our, quote, opposition party keeps losing is because they don't give a shit about the American people. They don't feel anybody's pain.
Of the professional class is that the people on top are up there because they deserve to be there. This is meritocracy. They're there because they got good grades. They're there because they went to a good school. They got a good score on their SAT test, and so they deserve what they have. And this is the fundamental bedrock belief of our party of the left in America.
And maybe Hillary Clinton is the personification of this theory of yours?
Well, yes. In some ways, yes. I voted for Hillary Clinton. I think she would have been. I think she would have been a good president. I mean, look at who she's running against. Of course, I did. But on the other hand, Hillary Clinton showed no concern for any of the problems that I just described.
So she was
no concern. She ran as a resume candidate. It was all about her credentials. Like, I am an excellent lawyer. It's like, okay, I was a great Secretary of State, on and on and on about her credentials, not about what she would do for the sort of suffering people of middle America.
And so the more the Democrats talk about Russia, the more they prove his point. The more they talk about James Comey, the more they prove his point.
Preach.
The more they talk about values and platitudes, the more they prove his point.
Tom Perez.
The Democratic Party doesn't care about income inequality.
No.
They don't care.
They don't care.
Doesn't care about any of that stuff. Isn't that amazing?
It's painful.
In 1980, we had 300,000 people in American prisons. Now we have over 2 million.
Okay.
Now we have over 2 million. Maybe some of those people could have voted for Hillary Clinton. So there he is. He lays it out for you. We're back in the 19th century. We're back in the Gilded Age, and the Democrats aren't talking about it at all. Hillary Clinton had absolutely no plan to help you. It's like they're a political party that's not even in this country, that they're out somewhere else. Well, they're not. They're in bubbles around rich people.
They're still not behind the fight for 15.
They're still not behind the fight for 15. They're still not. They won't even say single payer, Ron.
They're still not. They're still not.
The Democratic Party is shit. They are shit. And I'm all for primarying corporate Democrats, but I think we need a new party. And just
okay. So that's where it leads. If you and that's why the the big divide is happening. You'll talk to people who are ardent Bernie supporters, but when he goes that far and he says you should vote third party or you should put on your yellow vest or something outside of the two-party system, that's when people lose their shit. And that's what Bernie or Bust is all about. We need you to lose your shit. This guy, he's so bright, but he still said he voted for Hillary Clinton. How do you do that? Jimmy comes on and he says the Democratic Party is shit. How do you vote for shit? How do we keep doing that? We need to stop doing that, period. We just need to stop. And that's where burning your bus comes in. So this message that you'll never hear on CNN, MSNBC, you won't see any good articles or any good coverage of burning your bus movement. We've got to get videos like this one and videos like Jimmy's and videos like Tim Black and Nico House and Kyle Kalinske and David Dole and Crystal Ball and on and on. Those outlets for information don't get the kind of traction. They're actively blockaded if you look into it. If you look at, and another good one is Redacted Tonight. You look at the way their Twitter and their YouTube and their Facebook accounts get throttled, then you realize, Lee Camp, he's said that quite a few times, there's an active blockade in front of this news. So unless we share it around the blockade, it's not going to be heard. We need this message to be in front of anyone, even this smart guy here. If he could vote for the Democratic Party as it is, if he could vote for the legacy of Barack Obama, we need to do something drastic to get his attention so that he doesn't do that again. Don't let your friends vote blue unless it's a true progressive. Let that sink in and have a great day. Hope to see you tomorrow. Keep on burning.